In 1947, a devastating tornado tore through Woodward, killing Celta Croft and seriously injuring her husband, Olin. A neighbor discovered their daughter, Joan, with a 10-inch splinter driven through her leg, and the neighbor took her and her 8-year-old sister to the Woodward General Hospital. In the chaos of the hospital assisting with so many badly injured patients, two men walked in telling the nurse that they were friends of Joan's family and they were there to pick her up and take her to her family. Joan protested and didn't want to go with these men, but they insisted that they were to take her to her family, and they walked out with her. Joan was never seen again, and her case remains unsolved. In Woodward, Oklahoma in 1947, a tornado that nobody was prepared for tore through the town, killing 185 people and injuring over 1,000 more. Celta Croft was killed when one side of the house fell in on her, and her husband Olin was critically injured and rushed to the hospital in a nearby town. Their two daughters, Jerry, 8, and Joan, were discovered by the neighbor and taken to the hospital sometime after 9 p.m. Joan had a splinter described as the size of a pencil through her knee, and they knew she needed care. Both girls were placed together in a pallet in the emergency end of the hospital where they had no power, and the hallways were filled with muddy, bloody bodies in need of emergency care. At some point, the sisters were moved to the basement on sleeping cots with other patients who didn't need immediate assistance. Some reports say the same night that the girls got there, or the following night after the tornado, two men dressed in khaki shirts and khaki pants came into the basement and picked Joan up and said they were going to take her to her family. Joan cried out that she didn't want to leave her sister, but the two men told her not to worry, that they were going to come back for her sister. They ran into a nurse and other hospital staff who even attempted to stop them, but the men said that they were taking Joan to a different hospital where her family members were waiting for her, and the staff allowed them to take Joan. In 1948, a nurse who spoke about these two men, Bess Irwin, told the Tulsa Tribune about her interaction with them, saying, quote, "You will of course realize the terrible confusion we were in. The electricity was off and we worked by candlelight most of the night. The hospital was filled within the hour and emergency units had been set up in various buildings in the city. The incident is vague to me now, it is true. Those two men who stopped me in the hall and remarked that they were taking a small child with them. I cannot state what they said, but I do recall I wondered why they should even bother me at this time." End quote. Investigators told the Tulsa Tribune in 1948 that they had two theories about what happened to Joan. They believed there was a possibility that Joan could have died and been buried under the wrong identity. They stated that they had 3 tornado victims at the time that they buried who were not identified. 2 were adults, and the third was a girl who they estimated to be around 6 years old. Their second theory was that Joan was kidnapped by these 2 men at the hospital. Joan's family spent decades searching for her, and they had a theory that they believed someone who had lost their daughter had taken Joan in the place of the child that they had lost. Her cousin, Marvella Parks, was 14 the night the tornado blew through the town, ripping apart their lives, and she continues to work with